Disney just confirmed a second Snow White reboot, only months after their last one went up in flames. And no, this isn't a delayed April Fool's joke. After months of controversy, a brutal fan revolt, and one of the most embarrassing PR disasters in recent Disney history, the studio is officially starting over. Again, what went so wrong that Disney is willing to pour millions into rebooting a reboot? And how did Rachel Zegler, once praised as a breakout star, become the face of one of Disney's biggest misfires in decades? The truth behind this decision is deeper, messier, and far more dramatic than anyone expected, because this isn't just about one failed movie, it's about Disney's reputation and whether they've finally pushed their audience too far. From the moment it was announced, Disney's 2024 live-action Snow White remake felt off. The casting of Rachel Zegler as the iconic princess raised a few eyebrows at first, but it was her words, not her performance, that changed everything. In multiple interviews, Zegler openly mocked the original film. She called the prince character weird, said the romance was outdated, and dismissed the entire love story as irrelevant. For fans who grew up with the 1937 classic, it wasn't just disappointing, it felt like betrayal. These weren't offhand comments. They became viral sound bites. Entire TikToks were made mocking her arrogance, and as the clips spread, public opinion shifted fast. Instead of nostalgia and magic, the film became a lightning rod for culture war debates and Disney's alleged political agenda. Social media exploded with backlash, and the conversation around the movie was no longer about excitement. It was about frustration. Still, Disney pushed forward. They poured money into marketing. Trailers were released. Posters went up. But something was off. Instead of hype, the trailer triggered even more criticism. The visuals looked cheap. The tone felt hollow. And the changes to the story? Audiences weren't buying it. Online reactions were brutal. Comments flooded in, calling the movie unwatchable before it even hit theaters. Fans and critics alike questioned why Disney had taken such drastic liberties with a story that didn't need fixing. By the time the film released, the damage was done. Rotten Tomatoes scores tanked. IMDb ratings hit historic lows for a Disney fairy tale remake. Merchandise tied to the movie gathered dust on shelves. Retailers began slashing prices within weeks. The numbers spoke for themselves. It wasn't just a flop, it was a financial and cultural disaster. And behind the curtain, it was even worse. Leaked reports from inside Disney revealed that the backlash caught executives completely off guard. Early screenings had already suggested something was wrong, but nothing prepared them for the internet storm that followed. Internal documents showed major rifts between the marketing, creative, and PR teams. Campaigns contradicted each other. Messaging felt disjointed. One department would lean into empowerment, while another scrambled to push nostalgia. It was chaos, and there was no clear leadership to steer the ship. Disney's usually tight promotional machine had broken down, publicly, and fans noticed. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler, who was supposed to carry the film, became its most controversial figure. At first, Disney tried to protect her, but as interviews piled up and tone-deaf quotes continued to spread, the studio quietly began distancing itself. Media appearances were pulled. Press tours were cut. Zegler's once promising partnership with Disney began to evaporate in real time. She later claimed her comments were taken out of context, but by then, it was too late. The internet had moved on, from supporting her to turning her into a meme. Insiders say she won't be involved in the reboot in any form. One source even claimed she sabotaged the entire project and possibly her own career. Now, in an unprecedented move, Disney has announced they're rebooting Snow White again. This time, they're calling it a return to their roots. a tribute to the emotional core and classic fairy tale atmosphere that fans loved in the first place. And they're not being subtle about it. Every statement from the studio feels like a not-so-veiled apology. The new version is being developed under tight creative control. Legacy animators and consultants, many of whom worked on Disney Renaissance films like Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid, are being brought in to help guide the tone, pacing, and visuals. This isn't a reimagining, it's a reset, because this isn't just about one movie anymore. This is about everything Disney represents. For years, the company has faced increasing criticism for its live-action remakes, with each one feeling more soulless than the last. From The Little Mermaid to Peter Pan and Wendy, audiences have grown tired of the formula. Nostalgia stripped of charm, updated scripts with no heart, and characters drained of their magic. With Snow White, Disney knows the stakes are different. This is the fairy tale, the one that built the studio. And if they mess it up again, the damage might be irreversible. To avoid that, they've hired a new screenwriter known for balancing emotional storytelling with character-driven plots. The director is expected to be someone with experience in both animation and live-action storytelling, someone who understands the soul of a fairy tale, not just its aesthetics. So, what will this new version look like? For starters, Disney says the story will follow the original 1937 plot more closely. The dwarfs are coming back, properly this time, with careful design choices to avoid past controversies. Beloved musical numbers like Someday My Prince Will Come and Hi Ho will be restored, and the visual style will aim to blend CGI with practical effects, making the forest scenes and magical elements feel immersive without going full cartoon. One producer summed it up this way: "We're not trying to fix what wasn't broken. We're trying to remind people why they fell in love with it in the first place." Even the casting process is different. Disney is reportedly searching for an actress who reflects classic Hollywood charm, someone with vocal talent, relatability, and none of the media chaos that derailed the last film. They want a star who disappears into the role, not one who dominates the headlines. So, can Disney actually do this? It's still too early to say. The new film is set to begin production in late 2025, with a theatrical release aimed for spring 2027. Marketing is already in development, with early concepts including Snow White Park theming, soundtrack previews, and behind-the-scenes content to rebuild fan anticipation. But this time, they're moving slowly, deliberately. Every creative decision is being reviewed by multiple departments: costumes, lighting, score, character arcs. Nothing is being left to chance. Even Disney's harshest critics agree. If there's any film that could restore the studio's battered reputation, it's Snow White. Because if they get this right, they don't just earn back fans, they reestablish the very magic that made Disney matter in the first place. This reboot isn't just about updating a story, it's about rebuilding trust. After years of controversy and missteps, Disney is making a very public promise to listen, to learn, and to do better. But promises don't mean much in Hollywood. What matters is the final product. So the real question isn't whether Disney can remake Snow White again. It's whether audiences are still willing to believe in the magic. And that answer, we'll find out in 2027.